Hey everybody, welcome into Redacted on this Thursday. I'm Clayton Morris.
I'm Natalie Morris.
And on this show, we navigate this crazy clown world together as we are entering a crazy period ahead of the 2024 election. So thank you guys for joining us live. We are live Monday through Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Good to see all of you guys. Thank you guys for subscribing, whether it's YouTube or Rumble or on X. Tonight on the show, we're going to look at one big part of this illegal immigration story, which is why is the United States government building massive detention facilities in over 50 states across the United States. This is a piece of the story that you haven't heard. This is a dark secret, and we have the receipts. We're going to show them to you. And here's a little news flash tip. It's actually not related to illegal immigration. So wrap your heads around that. We're going to dive deep into this crazy story in a moment.
Plus, guess what U.S. taxpayers just bought? Any guesses?
A new car.
Aid to Ukraine?
Oh.
Yes, but that's not
Home
what we're
tests.
talking about.
Home tests?
Home COVID tests? Well, yes, that too. Weapons for Israel? Yes, that's true also. But also, you guys, we just bought the rights for Moderna to make an mRNA bird flu vaccine. Oh yeah, coming soon to a pharmacy near you. That is in trials. We're going to tell you all about how the WHO is leading the charge for that. Also, we're going to talk about how trans swimmer Leah Thompson has been denied access to compete against women in the 2024 Olympics. This is a win for female sports.
Also, Poland just shocked the world and fought back against the globalist agenda, the Green Party agenda, and the NATO agenda, trying to turn Poland basically into a garrison of NATO and the United States. Well, Polish voters said, big F you. They pulled out a fire extinguisher and they hosed down and stopped the flames from growing any further into election results. We're going to have a guest on who grabbed that fire extinguisher and put out this globalist agenda in Poland. Wait until you see this interview coming up a little bit later in the show. Good to see all of you guys here on this Thursday. Welcome in, welcome in. Let us know where you're joining us from live here. We should mention we do have a daily newsletter. We would love for you to subscribe to it. It's totally free. Just go to redacted.inc, put in your email address, then click submit, and you will receive a welcome email from me. It'll come from Clayton at redacted.inc. Just drag it over to your inbox, but make sure in that email that I send to you, you have to verify. You have to click verify that you want to receive the newsletter. And then Monday through Thursday, we do publish the newsletter first thing in the morning. It's a great way for us to stay connected and start your day off covering a couple of stories that we think would make your day more informative. Plus, we try to make you smile a little bit. We had a little bit of a technical problem with the on the back end server issue this morning, so a piece of our Tom Brady story didn't make it into the newsletter.
So the news is, in case we left you hanging, is that the New England Patriots retired number 12 for Tom Brady in perpetuity. So that number will no longer ever be used again.
Yeah, that's probably a smart move because no one's ever going to win like 6 Super Bowls or whatever it was, 7 Super Bowls in New England, 6, I think.
Until the bots start playing.
I guess.
Hey, that's what they said about number 3 too, with Montana at Notre Dame, and then when another golden child came along, they unretired it. So
okay,
it might not be forever.
Well, the 49ers won't do that, but maybe Notre Dame will.
Rude.
No, I was being.
That's your third hit at California today alone.
I just gave them. I just praised the 49ers.
Yeah,
okay.
that was good feedback.
Oh, all right. Clayton likes to just mosey into my office and then talk some smack about California because I'm from there.
Yeah.
It's just a regular habit. Like today, he walked in. So anyhow, I thought that was another hit. Wasn't. Okay, so yes, please do check out the Redacted newsletter. It's totally free. You can find it at redacted.inc.
Well, we have a saying on this show that conspiracy theories are just 6-month spoiler alerts for what's to come. And there's no shame in raising these questions. So here's one for you. With over 30 million, upwards of 43 million illegal immigrants that have poured across the border during Biden's presidency. And the federal government is building massive facilities that can sleep tens of thousands of individuals all across the country. You probably haven't heard about these large facilities, have you? Well, why are they being built? Who are they for? We might finally have an answer. Listen.
It's not for these illegals, especially let's go off the numbers that they're telling us that there really are. They're saying, 11 million? In reality, I can tell you right now, with talking to all of the agents that I've talked to, private sector, looking at the cameras and all the real data, we're over 30 plus million who've actually entered this country.
Yep.
And so even with that, even though that's enough to replace about 36 states population, why would they need to continue to do that if they're trying to absorb these guys, make them productive members of our society, get them into housing, because we know that there are already housing projects being coordinated with builders, again, with our money. I believe it's to kind of like what Nazis did with the Jews, concentration camps, processing facilities. They're going to need somewhere to process the dissidents.
So it's not for illegal immigrants? Who is it for? Dissidents? We're going to unpack this with former 24-year veteran of the Customs and Border Protection, J.J. Carroll, who did this interview as part of his new documentary, Treason, scouring the country right now. And you just keep bringing unbelievable revelation after unbelievable revelation as part of this story. I think, again, most Americans have no idea what is going on, and it's being absolutely kept from the American people right now. And JJ joins us once again here on the show. Great to see you. Welcome back.
Thank you for having me, Clayton. And thank you for talking about this documentary, because as I travel the nation, I have a very, I believe I'm an expert on this topic. However, when you talk to people, and I have interviewed multiple people from all different levels of ability to get intelligence gathering data, it's fascinating to me and shocking at the same time when I speak to people that are very compartmentalized, meaning they focus on child sex trafficking. They talk about the gang members. They talk about facilities, and you get deep in that rabbit hole. Really, it's a rabbit hole. You're like, I didn't know it was this deep. I didn't know it was this broad. I didn't know it was this malicious. And you played this clip from someone I interviewed this past weekend. Her name is Christy Hutcherson, and she runs an organization called Women Fighting for America. But her background was federal contracting, and more specifically, abroad, but specifically, she worked on forward operation bases, FOBs, in military war zones, where she would put up these giant soft-sided facilities, water, food, et cetera, et cetera. So we're talking tens of millions, if not billions of dollars, right, that have transferred from her company, which she no longer is a part of, but she has access to all the bid contracts. So I'm interviewing her, and like I said, I have a very good understanding of what the hell's going on in America under this immigration invasion. But when I speak to people that are very dialed in on very specific areas, I'm shocked. She tells me, and I didn't know this because I don't have access to it. She has access to the federal database where you can go on a website and there are endless bids for contracts from whatever. But she's focusing in on, she says to me, there's bids for detention facilities being built in all 50 states in America. And I said, okay, hold on a second. Say that again. She says, okay, I can go into a database because my company used to bid on all this. And I bid overseas, international contracts. Very, very intelligent woman, very, very connected. And she says, I go in the database, JJ, and there's detention facility bids to build individual detention facilities in every state in the union. And then she goes on to say to me, well, JJ, who do you think they're built for? Are they built for all the illegal aliens or the unaccompanied alien children? Of course not.
What if your smile could go from looking like this to this? Would you be more confident? Would you laugh a little?
Of course not. And she has a point, right? Because
you would think, right? So that's where I was confused. I would have thought, okay, they're building all of these detention facilities across the United States for a purpose, illegal immigrants. But no, right? Because as your data has suggested, most of these ICE facilities, right? Can you talk about that, are completely empty?
Yes. Well, they are completely empty. I talked to my buddies in Texas and in San Diego, and I talked to my ICE supervisors. They tell me, JJ, they're empty. So you're talking anywhere from 30 to 40,000 beds across America, mainly on the southern border, right, are empty. Well, why are they empty? Because we have massive catch and release. Let me explain what this looks like. In the old days, right? The old days, Clayton, 3.5 years ago, not 30 years ago, when I got someone that was special interest alien, deported felon, whatever, I didn't release them. I sent them to an ICE holding facility, and they went and they waited there a week, 2 weeks, a month, whatever it was, to go in front of the judge, find deported, or found to be guilty of reentry as a felon. Then they spent time in federal prison, and then they would be deported. So we had all this bed space. But now, if I get someone that's a deported felon, I know this is going to be hard for people to believe. I arrest someone that's a deported felon now, I'm releasing them. I'm releasing them on the street. So you go from arresting people 3 years ago, setting up for deportation and prosecution, goes to, we call it a camp space in an ICE facility, and then that individual goes through the court system and then is ultimately deported after he or she serves her time. Not now. Everyone gets arrested by the Border Patrol. They quickly vet them, and then release them. Just release them. We just had 8, I'm going to mispronounce it, Kyrgyzstanians. 8 of them across the border were vetted and released. Now we find out they were actually ISIS terrorists. ICE had to go find them. All 8 of them, I believe, entered together, but all 8 of them didn't stay together. They went to Los Angeles, Philadelphia, and New York. So what Ms. Hutcherson is saying is, in coordination with what I know, is you have 40,000 beds. Why would you need more? Mayorkas continues to go in front of Congress and demanding, I need more money for ICE beds. And they say to him, sir, you have no one in them. I'll give you an example. San Diego sector has like a 2,000 bed, soft-sided, hard-sided facility. The last I checked was 6 people in there.
People better wake up. People better wake up. I mean, he's before
Clay.
Congress. He's sitting before Congress demanding more money from Congress to build more beds. And they've been built, and they're all empty. They're all empty. Yes. I mean,
because we don't hold people anymore.
It's a good thing your documentary is called Treason, because this is treason. I mean, this is exactly what this is. What money does he need? And then what are these detention facilities being built for, as she was talking about, in all 50 states? I mean, we're talking millions of beds across the United States. For whom?
Yeah, well, and she says in this interview, they're for dissidents, American dissidents. And she's right, because I know how that sounds, Clayton. I know when I say this out loud, like you and I talked about this before, I have an interview